Bassheads, what's good? Welcome to Wednesday. Gosh darn it, you thought I was gonna cuss. Didn't do it. Man, that's a joint from 2020 I made. Maybe 2021, I don't know. What's good, people? Where y'all at? I see y'all didn't answer the question. But we're gonna come back to that. I hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna do something a little bit different tonight. And the reason is because I like to make it a little diverse, and I really want to talk about Prince tonight. Next week we got something a little bit more bass related, but tonight we're gonna talk about Prince. I'm gonna ask the question again, though. Okay, I gotta ask the question. We gotta spice things up here. Before we do, if you guys have not seen the updates to Bass Note Master, man, let me tell you. Please, go and tell them. Bass Note Master is banging. The whole thing is banging, okay? If you really, really want to learn that bass neck, and I got some content that's going to come along with that I'm working on right now that's going to help you suss that out a little bit more and make more use of it. Because, listen, we get the information online through apps and all of that stuff. We still need to get it onto the instrument. So, the question, friends, the question of the day is this. You can type a 1 or 2. Type a 1 or 2. Because this has been on my mind for a few days now. Prince was such an innovator and way ahead of his time. Do you think that he would have dabbled in AI on some level? Type a 1 if you think, yeah, he would have played around with it a little bit. Or type a 2 if it's a hell no. All right, we got somebody with a hell no. I'm going to switch chairs. This chair is noisy. And that's the bass playing chair. That's the bass playing chair. We kicking back today. So if somebody said, Nalan says 1. Flea says no, hell no. I'm gonna tell you, I think I lean on the fence that I think he would have Marcus Robinson. Don't you come in here with that shit now. I think that he would have probably dabbled a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to say. But then. Now, I didn't say just for music. I'm not saying just for music. Would he have dabbled a little bit in it for something else? I don't know. Would he have used it to exploit the industry in some way? That's what we're getting into. Today. We are getting into how Prince changed the game, the e-commerce game, as we know it. As always, man, I appreciate it. I got 13 sets of eyes and 13 likes. I appreciate that. It lets me know that you want to be up in this joint and you want me to continue making this kind of content. Also, before we get started, we're going to send some prayers, some thoughts, some good vibes, some internet vibes out to my man G-Love. G-Love is recovering from surgery, so we're gonna send him some love. For those of you who don't know, I knew G-Love when I was a youngin', when I was a teenager. So anyway, let's get into it. I hope that you guys appreciate this deck I put together for you. I put this little deck together. You know what I mean? I think Prince would have dabbled a little bit into the AI, as I've been talking about it. This stream is brought to you by Bass Note Master. You can check it out at bassnotemaster.com. There is a lot of good stuff in this app for you to learn your Bass neck. I'm hyped up today. I had a nap. Old guy needs to take a nap. So some of this stuff, man, some of you guys, and I want you to chime in as you recognize things. Thanks a bunch for the super chat. Clue Studio, really appreciate it. This was like a magic era. This era right here. He revolutionized the industry. One of the first guys to come out with direct to fan sales, subscription clubs, and early online distribution. Raise your hand if you remember Crystal Ball. He also launched an interactive game and website. He had the first artist website that sold albums directly. Somebody fact check that for me. I believe that he was the first guy to do that. But I remember this interactive CD-ROM. And it was absolutely fantastic. In 2001, Prince founds the NPG Music Club. I had my little NPG Music Club laminate, and then I misplaced it. Everything is like where it's not supposed to be because Marcus Robinson says, yes, he would have dabbled in AI. I mean, on some level. Maybe not for music creation, but Orange Juice says he still has the interactive game. I still have mine too. Also, as we know, famously, Prince insisted on owning his master recordings. And we're going to get a little bit into that whole drama. So let's talk about the industry in the 90s, right? The 90s, major labels controlled everything from promotion to marketing, all that. So much so that this era is called the Fortress because of how tightly the labels controlled revenue streams and artist careers. Also, in 99, 14.6 billion in revenue, highlighting the strength of major labels before digital distributions. The labels had a lot of money back in them days. I don't know if it's like that. That's another question I have. I'm not a super big conspiracy theory with Prince's passing, but you gotta kind of wonder. What's up, Becca? You gotta kind of wonder if, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So let's talk about this timeline. Like, Prince is contesting Warner Brothers to secure ownership of his masters. And at this time, they have control over everything. When this guy is releasing music, the masters, everything. Somebody answer that question for please. How do labels make money now? Now, this conflict illustrated this Prince's challenge to the I'm not going to try to read this. I wrote this down with the help of AI. Because that's how we do. We use the tools come out, and we dabble with them. We see what we like, we see what we don't like, but I ain't reading all of that. You dig? So, raise your hand, friends, if you remember this name change, and everybody's looking at Prince like he's nutso. I was looking at him like he was kind of nutso. You guys remember this? Not realizing that this period is like a major play that's going to change the game as we know it today. So he changes his name, right, to the love symbol, right, and appears with this slave written on his face. But what this is like he's letting everybody know, man, I'm fighting to get my freedom. They own everything. They own my name. Well, what if I change my name? Right? You guys remember Chaos and Disorder? Anybody remember the album Chaos and Disorder? I didn't put that in the deck, but I like that album. I know Becca's in here now. Somebody tell me, I think that this might have marked an end of a relationship with Warner Brothers, but that album felt like such a kind of a here, y'all want something? Here it is. That's what it felt like. Am I the only one who feels like that? I love the song I Rock, Therefore I Am. That's one of my favorite joints of his of all time. Listen, if you're new around here, hit that like button, like the video if you like it, subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell for notifications so you never miss a video or live stream like this one where I am unusually amplified. I have no idea. It's the nap. I'm trying to tell you, it's the nap. it's the nap. So in 87, Paisley Park is built. Right? And this is still affiliated with Warner Brothers during the early 90s, but we're going to break away from that, right? In 93, Prince founds NPG Records to get greater control over his music and business. And this is going to mark a really pivotal shift. Flea says the fidelity was horrible. I don't know about that. But it just felt like a strange album, as did Come. Come felt like a strange album as well. Although I liked it very, very much, it did feel like... Remember, records used to come out on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Thursday? I can't remember. But I would just kind of randomly call. And one day I called Sam Goody at the Bayfair Mall in San Leandro, California, and asked him if by any chance, this is pre-internet, right? If anything new was coming out. And the guy says, yeah, Prince got this album Come. And then it was like, there was the whole Prince is dead, that type of thing. This was a weird period this time here. Now, this is where we step into Prince's online presence, the Dawn. Raise your hand. Let me know in the comments if you remember the Dawn. This is 96. This is his first official website. I wish I had more screenshots of the website he had during the Rainbow Children period, because that was just like next level, and I've never seen a website like it since. So, I still... Girly Girl Locks, you bringing people over here? Thank you. Releases were on Tuesday. I thought it was Tuesday. I worked in like 2 record stores. Why don't I remember that? May You Live to See the Dawn. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And then there was Love for One Another. Now, this is a charity-focused website that turned into an interactive community. You guys remember that? Some of these dates, I researched this, and I know the date periods are correct, but I can't. My brain, it's getting foggy. When I can usually think about periods of my life by what Prince album was out at the time. Anybody else like that? I'm like that. If sick of evil knocking on your door. Then there's 1-800-NEW-FUNK. No other artist is doing this at the time. And at the time, 1-800-NEW-FUNK, we're not talking about them 976 numbers that some of y'all used to be calling. Racking up them phone bills. Anyway, I'm kidding. You could call and order merch and the Crystal Ball album. I do not believe there was anybody else. Somebody said the Grateful Dead. I don't recall the Grateful Dead doing anything like that. To my knowledge, recollection and research, Prince is the first person to do this. And then there's the interactive CD-ROM. Now, I still have mine, but I have absolutely nothing to play it on. I wish I did. I wish there was like in the Wayback Machine or something like that, you could go and get around there. This was groundbreaking for 94. This was groundbreaking. Do you guys remember going through the hallway? Oh, wow. Now, I didn't know this. That I didn't know. I wish I would have called. One time I won Prince concert tickets. I won Prince concert tickets by identifying 7 songs, snippets of 7 songs played backwards. And I was like the radio dude. I was like the dude with the afro on Car Wash. You guys remember that? Crystal Ball, $50. And at the time, I was like, $50? $50? One of the best $50 purchases I ever bought. So Prince is an early pioneer to this direct-to-consumer sales business with this Crystal Ball box set, right? There's pre-orders you could do by phone or on the web, and then The Truth came as a bonus along with that album. And I wish I still have. No, you know what? Boom, 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 boom. I think my ex-wife got my Crystal Ball CD. Clue Studio says I sold beer at the musicology concert. Nice. I bet you did. And of course, Prince sells these records for $50 each, 250,000 orders. I got some duplicate slides up in this joint, which is okay. Let me take this jacket off. What happens is it gets warm in here. It gets cold in here. And then I put on a jacket, and then, hold on, somebody walking in front of my house. I got to look. Now, the NPG Music Club, I think it was $107. I remember $107 a year or $777 a month. But you got everything. You got to get, you got the NPG audio shows, which was like pre-podcast. You got you got access to sound check and all these other different perks, all this unreleased music. Also, let's see if you guys remember this. There was a contest one time where you could download the stems of one of Prince's songs, the instrumental, and put your own vocals on it and then send it back. And, I knew a bunch of people that did it, but nobody I knew won. And the people who did, I couldn't even tell you their name. I hope they're still making music. FIM Performance says, my Crystal Ball CD didn't have the liner notes that were released. Oh, wow. Interesting. I didn't get mine from I got mine from an actual store. $13 million off of Crystal Ball direct. Straight to the fan. I don't think anybody was making bread like that. I don't think anybody else, even if smaller, nobody was making bread like that, right? And Fleece, if you know what smaller artists were doing that around the same time or even before Prince, let me know, because I'd be curious to see who they were, what that was like, or whatever. But here's some of the perks that you were able to get from the NPG Music Club. Definitely the NPG audio show was really podcast-like, because it wasn't all music. It was like a radio show, but very, very much like a podcast. I didn't know Hammer did that. At all. Being out in the Bay Area in the early 90s, seeing the dot-com boom and bust. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy, and which opens up another conversation. But like, every time I look back on that period, I'm like, you mean I didn't make no money? I was working in a warehouse. I didn't make no money in the dot-com boom. Like, I'm gonna save that for another time. I think Hammer sold out of his trunk. I mean, I think Prince was the first person to sell direct to fans on the internet, like actually on the internet. Prince was like, I'm number one on the charts, but I was number one in the bank. Damn right. He was number one in the bank and had a loyal fan base, a loyal fan base. Then One Night Alone comes out in, okay, Fleechy like to split hairs. Boy, that boy be liking it. That boy be liking to split hairs. I'm trying to tell you, he be liking it. I'm just messing with you, bruh. You know, if anybody gonna mess with you, it's me. It's me. I mean, if you want to call Out the Trunk direct, it is direct, but we're talking about on the internet to a wide and loyal fan base. You know, if you think about the careers, you know, Prince was, you know, at that time, Hammer's, in comparison, still starting out, and Prince is already an established artist, right? So we're gonna go and say Prince gets the crown. And I wish, you know what I wish? I wish that some of the people that thought I was hating on Prince when I say he didn't play 27 instruments were on this stream right now. That video got me in some hot water. Some hot water with the Prince fan, but he didn't play no 27 instruments. I'm gonna tell you right there, right now. The people keep talking about he played saxophone in middle school. Well, I played tuba in high school. Ask me if I could play tuba now. I played tuba all 3 years of high school. I don't now. You know what I mean? Lifetime Achievement Award for the Webby Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006. You can tell I haven't done a deck in a minute. It's been a minute. I used to do PDs all the time when I was in school. I haven't done a deck in a minute. But you can see on the screen, 2009, we got the launch of Lotus Flower. Another premium membership model. Target sold a 3-disc Lotus Flower bundle at $11.98, highlighting the price difference with Prince's premium direct-to-fan offering. I was not a huge fan of Lotus Flower. I was not a huge fan of Lotus Flower. It was all right. But, you know, I think there was something that was starting to, let's talk about this statement that Clue Studio makes right now. Listen, if you stop playing an instrument before high school, it doesn't count. You know, that is a great statement, which brings up this. Today, I found out, I did not know this, I found out that DJ Khaled was born in New Orleans. Did not know that. I found that out because we have like this New Orleans Walk of Fame, and DJ Khaled has a little fleur-de-lis on this thing. And somebody on TikTok was like, you know, when does he ever big up New Orleans? I'm like, I was born in Kansas. Little known fact. I know you guys are happy now that you know I was born in Kansas. But I'm a third generation New Orleanian because my parents were born and raised here. My grandparents are, you know, from New Orleans. So I just happened to be born in Kansas. But I was raised in New Orleans, the home of the birthplace of my parents. You know what I mean? So I can't say that I'm from Kansas. Just like DJ Khaled, I'm kind of like hard pressed to say, is he from New Orleans? I don't know. Okay, Colonized Minds and Dreamer from Lotus Flower. Listen, those two joints. I remember those two songs. I can't even remember the flow of that record, right? I can't even remember the flow of that record, but I remember those two songs. Yeah, man, that was on the what was it, Welcome to America tour. He opened that up. Nalan, I'm sure we're related. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm absolutely certain. We got some controversy going on. Controversy in the chat here. Let me see what y'all fighting about. Antone Bailey. What's up? Okay. Crimson and Clover was on that as well. But was it the Daily? It was the Daily Mail. Yeah, that record was it was okay. It's not one of I wasn't super duper excited about music that he was putting out at the time. Tiny says it's a ton of home studios all over the country. Yeah, I would agree. I think anybody with a laptop, I think most, if not all, modern laptops and iPads are capable of recording music. Marcus Robson, is it Robson? Do a play along bass break down of Another Lover, Holding Your Head, and also America. I've actually done a breakdown of Another Lover. I think we got into a copyright thing with that. Okay, y'all. Flea says, who was the first to sue their record label for holding their recordings? I gotta get those sized right. Yeah, Lotus Flower wasn't really popping for me. It wasn't really popping. James Brown did have his own label. Yeah. Now, this title thing. Oh, I skipped one. Here's where I say that Prince is a walking contradiction. I said that in the other video about the 27 instruments. I said that Prince was a walking contradiction. And this is another reason why I think that he might have dabbled in AI just a little bit on some level. But he says in 2010 that the internet is completely over. You guys remember that? That was one of the most cockamamie things. I was like, what? It's just starting, bro. But somebody asked earlier in the chat about what the money that artists were making now, right? So the system that he's kind of helping to pioneer in some way is also backfiring in some way, because we all know that streaming is not really popping. Listen, my album was on Spotify. I actually released my album in 2019, recorded in 2018, released in 2019, was in the top 10 of Funkopedia's, top 10 funkiest albums of that year. And then the pandemic happened. But I immediately got on like 2 editorial playlists, and it was taken off. And every now and again, I'll see a random deposit from streaming for like $20 or something like that. You know what I mean? So I took my record off of Spotify. FIM Performance says your album is very good. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of that record. I'm very, very proud of that record. And truth be told, I'm gonna start. I'm putting together my own thing. But yeah, the streaming is absolutely, there ain't no money in it. Now, I did put it back onto Spotify because it's easier to, like, if I'm having a conversation with somebody, or if like my bio or whatever, it's easier to get that piece of digital, that digital asset to them. Is it true that you get 0.4 cents per stream? Something like that. It's nothing. It's nothing. It is absolutely nothing. And I know some big players in that game. I don't know. I can't call any names or whatever, but I think there is still, some level of payola that goes down with that, placements and stuff like that. So, now the title, I don't know if you guys remember this. Some of you Prince heads are going to really remember this, when you could only get Prince's music on Tidal. And it was the, Hit and Run was on Tidal. You couldn't get it anywhere else, which kind of forced you to get a subscription to Tidal just for that. That's what I did at first. Which also, we're talking about why, if I owned all of this music in the first place, I mean, iPods, gosh, remember when the iPods first came out? iPod Nano, mini disc players. There was just something about being able to have access to music, really, the convenience factor. Like, we're always paying for convenience, right? Yeah, having the records and tapes. And let me tell you, I think I love technology. I absolutely love technology. I was a tech integration coach when I was working in the school system. That my last year in the school system, I was a tech integration coach. I love technology. I'm absolutely blown away by the things that you can do with AI. But I look at all these things as tools, right? And we've been using AI on some level for several years, long before ChatGPT. But the things that we're able to do now are just, they're pretty amazing. But there's, a balance that needs to be struck. Also, you see how we're talking about in the chat, we're talking about all these forms, how we got music in these convenient forms, and now everybody's going back to things like vinyl. And I don't know that vinyl sounds the same as it did back in the day. I don't know. I don't know. Teddy Ruxpin was AI. I mean, listen, Zune. I remember Zune. So, like with AI, I think that there's going to be, this fascination, a lot of new businesses, a lot of new opportunities, a lot of new things are going to happen, but people are still going to crave real interaction with people. I'll give you an example. I had a problem. I know I'm off topic right now. I swear to God, I'm getting back on topic. I had a thing that I was trying to work out with a vendor a few days ago. And I'm telling you, it was so hard to get to a real person, an actual live person, that I was like, I'm going to cancel this subscription if I cannot get a real person. And to that, Bass Note Master, first iterations of it, I had some issues, and my phone rang, and it was somebody who had bought the app, and I was like, yeah, it's really me. I built it. I am the customer service. I am the guy that's there if you need help and support. Don't be blowing up my phone, though. But with this title thing, let me get back on topic here. You know, I just like talking to you guys. And I see you guys are active in the chat today. Super duper active in the chat. I know this was an exclusive thing to Tidal. There was an exclusive relationship with Tidal, but then I don't know all the details of it, but there was some scrutiny. It got pulled. There was a lawsuit. So Redbox, I don't even know what Redbox is. Now, after Prince passed, now I have mixed emotions about this. And y'all let me know if I'm alone or not in this. You know, after his passing, there's the reinstatement on major streaming platforms, right? There's so much. I really, man, somebody got to be with me on this. Somebody has got to be with me on this. I was heartbroken to see so much of the bootleg material wind up on YouTube. And the reason for me was that some of these songs, well, all of these songs, but the bootlegs were like, if you had these bootlegs, you were in this special club, these live recordings. And I would get kind of annoyed, like when people would, people who were like passive Prince fans or weren't fans at all would be like, hey, did you see this performance? And, like the James Brown, Michael Jackson, and Prince thing at the Apollo, right? I had that on one of these little mini CDs. You remember that? You remember those things? That had been ripped off of a VHS. And I was like, yeah, I've been having that for like years now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really like the bootleg, seeing all of that stuff there. And when everything became available on Spotify, I love being able to just, I just want to listen to this song, and I don't necessarily want to, whatever. The convenience of it. But mixed feelings about that. And I can see in the chat that some of you guys remember that or feel the same way that I feel about that. But you know what? It's out there, man. You can't. Yeah. The Secret Handshake Prince Club. Yes, indeed. The Secret Handshake Prince Club. Yep. Okay, I just have to tell you this real quick. Like, I can remember when my bootleg collection first started, and then when it like skyrocketed. I was the dude who went to like camp out for tickets. That was me. I think every show besides Purple Rain, because my dad bought my tickets. Me and my best friend at the time bought us tickets to see Purple Rain. But every other time I camped out, right? And so I meet this doctor. And I think the doctor he might have been interested in a to each his own, but that's not my story. Anyway, man sent me, and I had already had stuff, but he sent me my first like real big volume of rehearsals. I'm talking CDs, CDs that were sent to me in the mail. Crazy. And then I got the work. I don't remember where I got the work. But before we wrap up, I'm going to show you some of the vinyl that I have like right on hand right here. Most of the other stuff is a bunch of CDs. I'll show you some of the vinyl that I have in just a second. Oh, this is a fun trip down memory lane. No, not Dr. Fink. Definitely not Dr. Fink. Definitely not Dr. Fink. Oh man, you know what we got to do? Let me see. Do I have like real bass heads up in here? Chocolate box with movie star on it. Come on. There's some real purple hippies up in here today. We need to have like a private Zoom where we just play bootlegs. 12 albums for a penny. You're old, Fleece. That's like some old people shit, bro. Next thing you tell me is that you was like getting your Christmas toys out the Sears catalog. Oh, man. At this point, I'm sure you guys have already read what's on the screen. We're just going to cover it real quick. Major labels pursued legal action against Napster. You guys remember Napster? But Prince bypassed this all these traditional channels by creating direct-to-fan sales and subscription services, maintaining control over his music distribution. I'm going to test y'all right now. Who remembers WinMX? WinMX. Who remembers WinMX? Funny story. You know, I lived in Thailand last year. And I went to Thailand on a contract through a person that I met in the WinMX Napster days. We were sharing bootleg music. Oh, should I say that on YouTube? Hey man, it was 20 something years ago. We're sharing music and we just started chatting, and then we, became, casual acquaintances. We were like following each other on different social media platforms. We both start to live our lives. LimeWire. Yep, that was another one. We go to live our lives. He gets married, 4 kids. Me, I get married, divorced. You'd think I was bitter or something. I'm not bitter. I'm just messing around. But anyway, WinMX, I don't remember. I just remember sharing files. Just like a music player where you shared files. So, I mean, but Napster, listen, as a musician myself, as an artist myself, there's some conflicts, there's crisis of conflict when it comes to file sharing. And I don't know how to get around it. Quite honestly, I have no idea how to get around it. Once it's out there, it's out there, and that's like with everything. The question I have for you guys is, what platform do you think was like one of the first direct descendants of the NPG Music Club? What came after that? Anybody remember what came directly after that? Tiny says he got a virus from file sharing. There is a really immature joke that I have because, I go middle-aged to 7th grade like this. So, get out of town. Pirate Bay is still going? How is that possible? How is that possible? I would be scared to do any kind of file sharing these days. Like I wouldn't fool with that at all. Not at all. Because ain't no telling. Folks are nuts. You guys remember the AOL chat rooms? In those jeans. Yes, indeed. Now, I'm going to go on and skip over to this slide because in the spirit of, I couldn't get the image to go, I couldn't make it bigger. Keep it clean, people. In the spirit of Prince's pioneering spirit, I invite you to check out my album, if you haven't, on Bandcamp. You are totally free to check it out on Spotify. But if you want to help your boy keep the lights on, you know what I mean? Maybe buy some dinner, some coffee. Check it out on Bandcamp. Oh man, you too late. Clue Studio, you're too late. Dude, AOL chat rooms. What was that other God, it was Black something. Black Voices, Net Noir. I remember Net Noir. And then there were these rooms where you could just like set up a webcam and like go live on some level. That was also weird in the early 2000s. That was also like a weird vibe because nobody knew what to do live. And then you would just like, you would also see random weird shit. I do have physical hard copies of the album, and I have to say that there is a really beautiful booklet that I put together in the albums. Black Planet, that's what it was. Black Planet. Thank you, Wayne. And JB, thank you both. Yes, JB got you first, but it was Black Planet. Yep. Black Planet. Yes, I remember that. When's the next album release? I'm not sure. Look, we not ending right now. We're not doing that because this chat section, you guys are having too much fun. Hey, if you give me just a second, I want to show you guys what the album, the physical version of the album looks like. Hang tight. And we're not doing that. We're not doing feedback. Feedback is not what we do. So here's what I did was I did a standard sort of version of the record. Now, those who remember, this was around the time when my mom was sick and all that. So it's really dedicated. I called it St. Anne because it's, like a full circle thing. That's me and my mom's back in the 70s. Back in the 70s. That picture is actually, this is in base housing in Germany. Nalan, thank you so much. So this is the deluxe edition, which has this joint going on. This is, wait, it's me and my pops. Me and my pops. Maybe I should have had a manicure before I put my finger so close to the camera. But you know, we make it do what it do. That is the band. Scott Keller is now on tour with Fantastic Negrito. He is, man, this is a fantastic young man. He just turned 33 years old. Eamon Flynn plays with some everybody, one of the best keyboard players on the planet. You guys remember the movie The Commitments? He is a keyboard player from the band The Commitments. My brother Cam Parridge, standing right next to me on guitar. Cam is who mixed and co-produced the record. I don't know who that schlep is in the middle with the bass. And then Sonara Pippins and Tamar Gillette. Tamar Gillette over here on the corner is the voice that you hear on Strawberry Letter 23. And Sonara is on Potion 9. And so we got that's the house I grew up in. So there was like, you know, a lot of things going on. So there's like all this stuff in there. And here's I don't know why I can't get it out. Not a word. Not a word. Here is the booklet. So it comes with this little booklet. And you got that. You got me sitting at the piano, because I actually play that a little bit. That is my ex-wife. But one of the best songs on the record is Potion 9. I wrote the song when we first started dating. You know, let me just say it publicly because I'm talking a little bit of shit. I am indifferent, but I don't mean to like bash her. But this is what the booklet looks like. It's all got a theme, right? A theme for each one of the songs. So this is called Blood, which is you know, you have to like hear it, you know, to understand. It's a social commentary. Look at Tamar. Look at Tamar Gillette. That gal could sing now. And my favorite. Nah, I won't bash away. No bashing. No bashing. That is my Dear Mom, and The Ghost of St. Anne is a song that I personally can't listen to, but I wrote it on the way to play a church gig. Yeah. 504. This was my senior recital poster photo. Yeah. So when I still have a bunch of physical copies on hand, and when I stop being, what did I do? I think I disconnected the camera. Hold, please. We're coming back. Did you guys answer the question? Hang on a second. We're dark, but we're going back. Why does it freeze on an ugly face? Why does it freeze on an ugly face? It's always the way. Anybody else want to answer this question? We only got 20% for Prince might have dabbled in AI. Only 20%. Clue Studio. You might be right. You may be right. This dude right here. I guess This guy right here. This guy right here. Please, please, please consider reviewing this chart. It's not perfect, hard to do the form exactly right in iReal, but you can just hear the rest. Boy, if you don't leave me alone. I'm just teasing. Boy, tonight has been it's been a stone gas, honey. Look. Alex Wilson says 1. I think he might have dabbled in, it's like saying Jocko only needed 4 strings, or Jocko only would have played 4 strings. I think if Jocko lived long enough, he might have played with whatever, as an artist. Who knows? Becca Ski says, absolutely not. Hell no. It was that Tavis Smiley yeah, he said a lot in that Tavis. But, Prince, again, I say, being this walking, talking contradiction, this guy. Like in that same interview, Prince talks about Obama and not being political, right? I got no dog in that fight, or something like that, he says. It always stuck out to me. But Prince was like a news junkie. You know what I mean? He was a news junkie. He definitely knew what was going on. He wasn't ignorant to it. But that does not mean anything. Becca says, I think Prince would do things until he didn't. Great point. Becca C says, I think P would have seen it as a threat to music. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I have seen and used some AI tools recently. And I think what we think, now just listen, just hear me out. Just hear me out. All right? Have you guys heard the term AI slop? Are you familiar with that terminology? And you can see it all over YouTube now, right? You can see it all over the place where there's just like garbage. All the horrible VO3 videos and all that. And there's a lot of really bad AI music out there, right? It's already out there. So garbage in, garbage out. I saw a tool, I think it's called Co-Producer. I have not had a chance to use it, but those of you who have, I think Clue Studio might have some, FIM Performance. I think you probably got a studio set up. Put yourself in this mind. You got a vibe going on, right? And you're looking for a sound. How many times have you wasted hours looking for a sound? Right? When I got my first DAW, which I think was Cakewalk, and different sound and keyboards started coming with way more sounds, it became quickly apparent to me that I was more creative when all I had was a bass, a guitar, and a couple of pedals and a drum machine. I still got like my Boss DR5. I still have an Alesis SR16. But now this co-producer thing, you type a prompt in that you're looking for a certain thing, right? A certain sound might be reminiscent of something, and it gives you that sound. You still have to play. You still got to play, right? I wish I knew this young lady's name. There's a young lady, blonde young lady who I said blonde, not blind, blonde young lady who plays keyboards. And I mean, she is vicious on keyboards. And she is now partnered with Suno, so she was doing some ad drops for them, and oh God, Cool Edit Pro, gee whiz, there's some old people up in here today, boy, god damn. Yeah, FIM performance, more choices took away the time from creating. It's like the tyranny of choice. But, she's showing on the thing where she'll sing, she sings her melody and then puts her stuff into Suno, and then she gets, and like with Suno, then you can also get your stems, and then after you get your stems, you still gotta do work. You know what I mean? It's like a blog post, right? If you Tascam Porta Studio, I wish I still had one of those. Like if you write a blog post with ChatGPT, and I will admit I have used ChatGPT to write some blog posts, and when you go back, you ADAC, Jesus Christ, you old people. When you go back, you're like, this is obviously crap. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even write this, but I wanted to get the output out, right? And me personally, I'm not really tripping on it like that, because you try something, you learn how it works, and then you start saying, okay, I got to go in and now do some work. And I have I've asked, ChatGPT some very direct things, and have it come back with stuff that I'm like, that is absolute bullshit. You know what I mean? So you still got to go in and do the work. You know what I mean? You still got to go in and do some work. And I think the same is true for AI tools. If you use them as tools, back to my point. I'm just rambling. I'm all over the place today. I think he would have exploited it on some level. Maybe not for playing, but for, I don't know. But think about it like this. If somebody, okay. So in the Prince video that I put out where I said Prince didn't play 27 instruments, a lot of people came in and they were splitting hairs. I mean, really, really trying to split hairs, right? And then I brought up the question, are DJs... okay, orange juice, we're going to get to that. So there is a good point right there, and I want to talk about that in a second. But like I asked, like, at what point do we call DJs musicians? Me personally, I have always said that DJs aren't musicians, but there are now that art form has evolved enough to where some DJs are musicians. Well, when does a DJ become a musician? And by that logic, at what point do people... Oh, God, I feel dirty even thinking about this question. By that logic, at what point do people who use AI prompts become musicians? I feel dirty. Prince would have found some genius usage for AI like he did with the Lindrum. Clue Studio says DJs are instrumentalists. Well, isn't an instrumentalist a musician? What is the textbook definition of a musician? Becca says, I see DJs as creative artists, producers that happen to use music as their medium. I still think I still think we're splitting hairs there. Oopsies, I didn't mean to do that. I still think we're kind of splitting hairs. I'm gonna ask Al here. Hold on a second, aka ChatGPT. What is a musician? Well, we're gonna have some fun with this. Well, you see, I know Excellent, and I know that he's passionate. He's passionate. A musician is a person who creates, performs, or interprets music. That can mean many things depending on the context. I'm not reading all that. At its core, a musician is anyone who actively makes music, not just consuming it, but expressing ideas. Alex, man, we appreciate you being here, bruh. Y'all give me a prompt. What should I say? Give me the textbook definition and don't make anything up. Just the facts. I want the traditional definition, I can't spell, of a musician. Orange Juice says, ask it straight up. Are DJs musician? I will. Here's the traditional textbook style. I don't want the textbook style. Okay. Merriam-Webster says a composer, conductor, or performer of music. Performer of music. A person who is skilled in producing music, especially. I'm getting there, Becca. I'm getting there, Orange Juice. Gee whiz, you guys. In Turkish, AI is the sound made by a donkey. Oh, please. You guys are passionate. Listen, I'm not sold on on it. Just give me a break. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. You asked for it. Are DJs musicians? Let's see. Good question. And it's one that musicians, critics, and educators debate. Here's the factual textbook grounded perspective. A person skilled in music, blah, 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 blah. By this narrow view, DJs would not automatically count, since they are typically not playing a traditional instrument. What up, though? Expanded context. Ethnomusicology and contemporary music studies often expand the ideas of a musician to include anyone who creates, manipulates, or performs music in real time. DJs who beat match, scratch, remix, and sequence tracks live are often recognized as musicians in a broader sense because they use turntables, mixers, and digital controllers as instruments. See, that's where I lean. I'm like, at the time when they start reproducing, recreating, doing something beyond the intended or the original work, are they then musicians? You know what I mean? Listen. Strict textbook definition. No. Y'all see this right here? Strict textbook definition. No, DJs are not traditionally classified as musicians unless they also play an instrument or sing. Contemporary academic cultural perspective. Yes, many DJs are considered musicians because they use their tools, turntables, blah, 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 function as instruments for creating and performing music. It really hinges on whether you stick to the traditional singing skill definition or adopt the modern creative performance definition. Okay, you guys help me. Y'all help me. For those just joining us, we're beyond the Prince. Well, Prince has spun us off to something else. Okay, if that's the case, I'm about to piss somebody off right now. Somebody about to get mad at me right now. I don't think Michael Jackson was a musician. I don't. I think he was a singer, and I don't know that all singers are musicians. I don't know. And I also don't know. I think he was a genius at what he did. I think he was a genius entertainer. You know what I mean? He was a performer. Clue Studio, don't block me. I don't think DJs compose music. They use existing music and mix them. Yeah. I can see there are DJs that make their own beats and create new music from, but it's still a hard no. Yeah, I don't. Tito was a musician. Jermaine was a musician. You know, yeah. I mean, y'all help me out with this prompt here. If we, oopsies, you know what? Oh, you know what? I just realized that I have these different little things set up. So let's see. At what point did he play cowbell also? At what point would we call? I would call Rochelle Farrell a musician. She plays piano. Now, something very interesting. Let me stay on point here. Who prompt AI like Suno musicians? That's a sharp, timely question. Let's ground this in the traditional definition first, then consider how AI changes the picture. By that standard, a person who only enters prompts into an AI system would not be called a musician. The composer angle prompting AI sits in a gray area, blah, 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 blah. Oh, we could go down this rabbit hole for a long time. If Girly Girlocks, if she plays piano, I don't agree, Tiny. I don't agree. I think a musician is I think there's a lot of people who know how to sing and are good at it, but aren't necessarily musicians because they don't necessarily speak or understand the language of oh God. Do you know that, think about all of the great singers back in the day. Aretha, Marvin, Smokey, all of them played piano. If we say that the voice is an instrument, Bobby McFerrin knows the language of music. He can speak music. He can write music. He can direct music. He can say, you know, this is a G flat major 7, right? This is, you know, whatever. Here's the chord progression, right? Will we ever see a DJ on Tiny Desk? There's already been DJs on Tiny Desk. Orange juice, thank you. Thank you. That's it right there. Because if we say that everybody with a voice who can hold a tune in a bucket is a musician, then by that definition, everybody's a musician. And that's simply not true. That simply is not true. Jazz vocalists, serious jazz vocalists, study music. I mean, they aren't just singers. It takes great skill to, like, scat, for instance. A skill that I certainly don't have. Not everyone who sings is a musician, but that doesn't mean that some singers are not musicians. Yes, yeah, I agree. I would agree with that. But I wouldn't just automatically call a person who's a singer a musician. I wouldn't call Beyonce a musician. I would call her a singer who used to be a better singer than she is right now. Just in my opinion. But who am I? I'm just a guy on the internet. You know what I mean? But just off the rip, nah. Nah, not off the rip. So, something to think about. Clue Studio, thanks for the super chat. But a composer who can't sing is a musician, right? I mean, in my opinion, absolutely. Okay, here's an analogy. I'm a mechanically inclined person, but I would not call myself a mechanic. If something goes wrong with my car, I have the aptitude to go out and fix it on some level. But I would not call myself a mechanic. You know what I mean? I wanted to double back to orange juice when we were talking about AI. And for those of you who are in Groove School, there's a... No, it's not in Groove School. This is the other Circle of Fists tool where there's a pocket scientist and you can ask it. I call it the pocket scientist. And you can ask it music theory questions, right? Now, here's an example of using an AI tool to build another tool, right? That has an AI component to it. Prompting is like a thing that I think all of us are going to have to learn on some level, depending on what we want to get out of the rest of this life. You know what I mean? But I set it up specifically so you could not go and ask it things like, give me a recipe for gumbo. It's only going to answer questions that are related to music theory. That's it. A mechanic can build a car if all the parts are available. Right. George Clinton, would I call... Oh, Tiny, you trying to get me in trouble? Are you trying to get me in trouble? Would I call George Clinton a musician? Nope. I ain't never seen George Clinton play anything. But when I say that, because some people take that just same way I said Prince didn't play no 27 instruments. I mean, y'all should have. I had to block 2 people off that thread. 2 people. 2 people I had to block off that thread. And the rest I was like, y'all can go on and talk because engagement is engagement. But Prince simply did not play 27 instruments, right? It doesn't make him any less of a genius. Would I call George Clinton a musician? Not in the traditional sense. Not necessarily. I'd call him an orchestrator. Doesn't make him any less of a genius or a badass or any of that stuff. James Brown, you've seen James Brown play, but you've seen James Brown play organ at least. And he understood. Let me settle down. Let me settle down. Bernie Worrell, the Wizard of Woo. Who's that question for? Clue Studio? Am I calling George Clinton the first Puff Daddy? We there's no Diddy around here. Can I tell you guys, I'm so ashamed that I don't know how to play One Nation Under a Groove, and I have to learn it for tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be easy. I'm sure it'll. Oh, we're good. Copyright. But the guy wrote a chart, and I'm like, yeah, write a fucking chart for One Nation Under a Groove. Are you shitting me? Anywho, Anton Bradley is just putting the names of songs in the chat. We need to think about this and revisit this conversation though about whether or not Prince would have used AI on some level. I think he would have done something. I think he would have found a way to use it on some level. I think it's easier. I mean, it's easier to say either one or the other because he's not here, right? Because I think, like, you ever see these like really bad AI photos of him, and they're getting as models get more advanced and trained on different data, they're getting better. But like at first, like AI was trained on only like this one random dude from like Chicago or something, because it's always the same dude. But it's getting better. But I believe, especially because of his Jehovah's Witness stance, he wouldn't have liked that. He spoke about the hologram thing, so I know he wouldn't have been feeling. I'm pretty confident that he wouldn't have been feeling the AI imaging. But as far as there's so many different ways you could use AI. he would AI himself and use it. I mean, his AI character would be Jamie Starr. I mean, you never know. You never know. I think people like that. People like Prince. People who are so inquisitive and forward thinking. I do not think that people like that are the type of people to just say, nah, I ain't touching that. This is what everybody's talking about, but I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to have any parts of that. I think he would have looked at it and found a way. This is my speculation. I think that he would have looked for ways to use it ethically. Yeah, I think he would have looked for ways to use it ethically. That's what I think. Orange Juice says I could maybe see him trolling with it to show how hollow it was. Is it hollow? And when we say it, I mean it. Artificial intelligence exists in so many different things, right? I love it when people say that they're off the grid. Or folks that think that they're like totally invisible because they don't have do you know anybody like that? It's just like, I'm invisible because I don't have social media. I'm like, if you have one of these in your pocket, you know they're listening. You know something is always listening. You know what I mean? Prince was firm in putting in the work. Yeah, absolutely. But still, what I was saying earlier, I don't think, all the artificial intelligence that's out there. I mean, you've got some people that just type in a prompt and, a prompt, and then come out with bullshit and just stop there. And then there's other people who really dive deep and really do some extra, you know what I mean, with AI. It's an interesting time we're in. It's exciting. It's scary. I'm already thinking about opportunities that exist though. And some of them I'm not going to share because I might want to capitalize on them myself, if I'm to be honest. But at one time, the agriculture, the industry, that industry looked a lot different than it does now. Just like everything else. Could you imagine farmers, when the tractor came around? I'm using that as an example. I don't know. Fuck! Something is... You know what I mean? But then there's like a whole industry. There's an entire industry then built around the tractor. Somebody got to make the tires. Somebody's got to make parts. Somebody blah, 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 blah. All these different things. So, I don't know. He would have found AI. He would have used AI to find people that violated his copyright. That's what he got Londell McMillan for. Prince was creative. I'm sure that he would do something with it. Yeah, he would have did something. I'm okay, Becca. I mean, what is the difference between technology and artificial intelligence? Should I go to ChatGPT to ask the question? She got a good point, though. She got a good point. Who knows? Who knows? I think we're in a bubble that's gonna burst at some point. And then the live streams will end because the internet will be no more. And it's going to be like the Book of Eli. Oh, have you guys ever seen that movie, The Book of Eli? It's one of my favorite films. And I did say films. All right, friends. I got to go get in the shed and run over some tunes for tomorrow. AI is a result of technology. Oh, gosh. You guys are going to keep me going on this. Shit. Okay, just hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Yeah, I think we're closer to some semblance of that reality than we might think. You know, I always thought if there was like a post-apocalyptic thing that I would not be like I'd like, if that shit happens, let it happen while I still got some, while I still got some hands, I could do some things. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it happen when I'm like 70. You know what I mean? Because at that point, I'm going to be like, fuck it. Oh, I'm on one tonight. Let's go back to Al. I'm gonna call it Al. You can call me Al. I had to play that song for a gig one time, and I went boom boom boom. I went to do that, and the band didn't do it. Something happened, they didn't do it, and I was like, motherfucker. What's the difference between AI and technology? My friend says that. Well, just tell me. We're not doing all that. Y'all about to teach me something new, because I never thought about it that way. Oh, interesting. Do you want me to give a real world analogy, like music versus instruments? Give me a real world example that does not have to be music related. Okay. It talked about cars. Technology, cars in general. A regular car is technology. It is a human invention that helps us travel faster than walking or riding a horse. It uses engines, wheels, blah, 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 blah. Artificial intelligence. Oh, okay. So technology equals the car itself. AI, the smart system inside the... I never thought about it that way. But when I was living in the Bay Area, I almost had this gig testing self-driving cars. The last time I was in San Francisco, I loved living in the Bay Area. I really did. Like I tell anybody, I was raised in New Orleans, but I became a man in the Bay Area. I was blown away by the amount of self-driving cars. And I was like, this shit is kind of ridiculous. But I'm going to tell you what. You guys, this is the thing that freaks me out. You ready for this? Nalan Neeland. You're don't tell anybody, but you're one of my favorites. You know what I mean? I'm going to shed, but hang on a second. Hey, how's it going?
Hey there. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing well too. If you need anything else, just let me know.
What is your prediction for artificial intelligence in the next 5 years, and how do you think it's going to impact the music industry?
Oh, that's a fun one to think about. So looking 5 years down the line, I'd say AI is probably going to get even more integrated into creative fields, including music. I bet we'll see AI tools that are even better at helping musicians compose, experiment, and produce really unique sounds. Maybe more intuitive AI collaborators that can jam with you in real time or suggest chord progressions based on your style. I think it'll be less about AI replacing musicians and more about giving them a bunch of cool tools to be even more creative. And as for the music industry, I think AI could really streamline how folks produce and distribute music. We might see more independent artists using AI to handle.
The thing that kills me is that sucker's breathing. Do you hear that? I'm going to ask it one more question. Do you think that Prince Rogers Nelson would have used AI in some way? And if so, how?
Oh, that's a fun one to imagine. I mean, knowing how innovative Prince was, it definitely feels like he would have been curious about AI. He was always kind of ahead of the curve or using tech in his music and business, like those early online distribution experiments. So yeah, I could totally picture him using AI to maybe create new sounds, experiment with some kind of AI generated music ideas, or even just to play around with how he produced or mixed things. He was definitely the kind of artist to find a creative use for it.
These are wild times. These are wild times. Okay, friends, I have had a lot of fun with you today. We've been on almost 2 hours. Remember that the streams, the study hall streams, stay up for a week and then they go in the vault. Next week, we're bringing back the bass. We're going into bass. And I am deep diving into a song that I had no idea was as funky as it is until I had to start shedding it for a gig tomorrow. So we're going to deep dive into that tune. You have to wait and see what it is. Some of you already do, but we're going to talk about that next week. So bring your bass next week. That's what we're doing next week. And remember, friends, it ain't rocket science. It's pocket science. I've enjoyed the hell out of y'all today. Active chat, active discussion. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Like the live stream if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that bell for notifications so you never miss a stream or a video. Catch you in the next one, y'all. Peace. 2 fingers.